Hello, this is a tarot card reading for Reddit user Xpisvbas. I apologize if I mispronounced that. One of the challenges of doing this is pronouncing everyone's Reddit username. So today we'll be using the standard tarot card deck, and we'll be using the 7-card horseshoe spread. This gives us a lot of information to answer your question, and unlike some spreads which don't use a card to represent you or depend on me, the reader, choosing a card, this card actually generates it for us. So we really get an idea of where you are and where your attitude is in regards to the situation. So we'll be doing this reading today, January 4th. At 6:40 in the evening, and this is a reading in regards to whether you'll be receiving the RA position at your college or not. The first card in the spread represents the past, and this is the King of Pentacles. Here I see that you've done well, you've had jobs before. If you haven't had jobs, you can replace your academic career with this. You've been successful. You've always gotten jobs and performed well, or you've performed well in school. You're also a kind and generous person, and these are all things, both a successful work history, whether that be traditional work or academic, and those personality traits that will definitely lend to an RA position. The second card in the spread represents you currently, and here we have the 10 of Wands, and this is a warning card. What this card tells you is that you shouldn't be biting off more than you can chew. If you take on more responsibilities than you can handle, you can become exhausted and you won't be able to really perform any of your responsibilities well. I understand you may be getting the RA job because you need to have more affordable housing or you need money while going through your college career, and obviously that's not something you can avoid. So if those are your motives for getting that position, what I suggest is making sure that this position and your school career are your top priorities. You may have to cut back on social clubs, social organizations, and even some of your personal life, because both of these responsibilities will take up so much energy that you may end up becoming exhausted and thus harming your academic career, which is one of the most important things about going to school. Always make sure you're taking your time, doing your best, and always make sure that every day you give yourself a few minutes to ground and to relax. And that will also help you be successful in an overwhelming situation. The next card we have is the card that represents the hidden influences in the spread, and here we have the Magician. What the Magician tells us is, if you look at the Magician and his altar, we have 4 magical tools. We have a chalice, an athame, a wand, and a pentacle. And the athame, of course, can also be seen as a sword, the chalice a cup. And what these are actually the 4 tarot suits, the cups, swords, wands, and pentacles. And what this card represents is taking everything in your life, everything those suits represents, taking stock of them and organizing them before pursuing action. So you need to take stock of your love life, your finances, your morals, your emotions, everything. Take stock of these things. This is something you will need to do before you move forward on a job that so far looks like you will be receiving, but something that can be very overwhelming. Taking the time to take stock of everything in your life before pursuing this job will really assist you in doing it and not being overburdened. And continue to take stock of your life as you go through school, go through this position, so you can be fully aware if you're overburdened, if your stress or your exhaustion is negatively affecting any other aspect of your life. So again, the next card represents you and your attitude in the spread. Here we have the 7 of Swords. And what this tells me is someone in your life may not be very trustworthy. It may be a little deceptive. So perhaps you know someone who's doing the interviews previously. Perhaps you know someone else who is interviewing for the job, or someone in your life who is trying to influence your emotions about the interview and the job. Someone isn't being honest and someone is being deceptive. So just keep your eyes open while you go through the interview process and you pursue this job. But also be aware, because this job is such a stressor, don't let this person sap you of energy. Whether you identify them or not, when the time comes that the truth comes out, just don't bother dealing with the negativity. If they're just trying to bring you down, just shed the dead weight and move forward. Don't worry about it, because you're going to have so much going on in your life that you won't have the energy to give someone who does not want to assist you in moving forward. The next card we have represents what other people in the situation think. And here we have the Sun. And what the Sun tells us is that these people also think that you will be getting the job, that when you get the job, it will be very burdensome and difficult. And they just want to remind you to be grateful for the little things. Be grateful for the job you got, the fact that you're in school, and every day, just take those few minutes to really count your blessings, and that will help you get through this difficult time. The next card we have in the spread is the card that represents the advice the deck gives to you. And here we have the Nine of Swords. When this job, which is very burdensome, obviously you're working from home technically, you have hours where you're basically on call, where residents have to come to you for assistance, that can be very draining. And you'll also be, honestly, you'll probably be dealing with a lot of residents who have lots of troubles in their lives, and that can be very hard to handle as well if you've never been in a position where people come to you with difficulties. So what this card is telling us is that at times the burdens and the responsibilities of this job may become very depressing to you. This is not a weakness. You, however, need to take the time to go to somebody, whether it's a family member, a friend. Honestly, in this situation, because we see this lack of trustworthiness in those around you, I would suggest going to the counselor on the school campus. They're obviously paid to be neutral and they're removed from your life. Go to this person and share. Because if you don't think it's worth taking the time to talk to somebody, the emotions you'll be carrying will actually only become dead weight. That's really all it will be. They'll become dead weight and they'll make it even harder in the future. So take the time to invest in yourself to make sure you're emotionally healthy while you're going through this position. And lastly, we have the card that is the final chapter of the reading. We have the Hierophant. And what this card really tells us is that once you become so this is the outcome. So everything else here we see as a chapter, and this is basically the conclusion. And we have the Hierophant. And what he tells me in this reading is that you are very concerned with upholding the traditional ideal of success. So if you are getting this position because housing or college bills are a little difficult, you really want to achieve the quote-unquote American dream. You want to be going to college, getting a job, and being successful. Those types of success are very important for you. I also see that as an RA, you'll be someone who sticks by the rules. No matter how a resident tries to manipulate you, you're going to be a strict resident, a strict RA. And they won't necessarily like that all the time, but that is not a bad thing. There are rules for a reason. That's what this card represents. It's very important for you to be seen by your supervisors and by the RAs as a good RA, and by the residents as a good RA, someone who enforces the rules and takes care of problems. So I definitely see you'll be getting this job. You'll just need to learn how to deal with the emotional responsibility, and you'll be a bit of a strict RA. Thank you again for letting me read for you, and I wish you the best of luck.